My parents said my sister deserved everything, even my $12 million fortune. What I did next left them speechless. Hi, I'm Sarah, 38F, and I need to get this off my chest. You know those family dynamics where one kid can do no wrong while the other might as well be invisible? Yeah, welcome to my life. Until I was 8, things were normal. My parents weren't the warm and fuzzy type, but they were present. My mom helped with homework. My dad took me fishing at Lake St. Clair. We weren't the Brady Bunch, but we were okay. Then came the night that changed everything. I still remember it vividly. 2 a.m. Aunt Kelly banging on the door telling me to pack a bag because Mom was in the hospital. My sister Rachel was coming, 2 months early. The next few weeks were a blur of whispered conversations and sterile hospital visits. Rachel was tiny, covered in tubes, and I wasn't even allowed near her. That was the first time I felt it. The invisible wall go up between me and the rest of the family. When they brought Rachel home, the house transformed. Mom became obsessed with germs, industrial disinfectant, hand sanitizer stations, constant scrubbing. The smell of bleach still makes me anxious. Anytime I showed the slightest sign of illness, I was shipped off to Grandma Marie or Aunt Kelly. Every time. Sneeze, pack your bags, cough, off you go. At first, it felt like an adventure. Grandma baked cookies. Aunt Kelly had Nancy Drew books. But kids aren't dumb. I realized pretty quickly I wasn't being sent away for me. I was being treated like a threat. I tried to win them back the healthy way. Straight A's? Barely a nod. Science fair winner? Can you keep the board in the garage? Rachel's sensitive to cardboard dust. Is that even a thing? The real gut punch? When I was 12, I'd been practicing bridge over troubled water for months to play at the school talent show. Rachel had a mild fever that night. 99. Wondergrafifs. Nobody came. 2 weeks later, her 15-minute hot cross buns recital had the whole family and both sets of grandparents in attendance. Rachel figured out pretty fast how to work the system. By 7, she had outgrown her actual health issues. But I'm tired meant skipping chores. I'm stressed meant extended deadlines. Meanwhile, I was background noise. So I retreated. Buried myself in books. My room became my sanctuary. Rachel was allergic to my lavender air. Freshener, so she avoided it. Grandma Marie was the only one who actually saw me. She introduced me to her vintage jewelry collection, which I'd catalog with obsessive precision. I didn't know it then, but that would shape my entire future. High school? My ticket out. I joined every club I could. Debate team. NHS president. School newspaper editor-in-chief. Part-time job at Carson's Diner. Shout out to Carol, the only adult who remembered my birthday. I even got a perfect SAT score, 1,600. Less than 1% of people do that. I rushed home to tell my parents. Mom, look, I got a perfect score. Her reply. That's nice, honey, but can you keep it down? Rachel has a big test tomorrow. Rachel. Some of us actually have to study, Miss Perfect. Mom. Rachel, sweetie, don't stress. You're just a different kind of learner. I still have the printout of that score. Never made it to the fridge. But Rachel's C+ in English? Front and center with a "We're so proud" magnet. I applied to 15 colleges on my own, wrote my essays, handled the FAFSA, got into Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Michigan with scholarships. When I told them I was going to the University of Michigan on a full ride, Dad said, "That's so far. What if Rachel needs you?" Mom, don't expect help. Cheerleading is expensive. Rachel, OMG, finally. Can I have your room? For my TikToks? Move-in day? They couldn't come. Cheer competition. Aunt Kelly drove me, helped me set up, handed me an envelope. From Grandma Marie, she whispered. $500 she'd saved from her Social Security checks. That night, I made a promise. I was going to build a life so successful, being overlooked would be impossible. College was hard, but glorious. Freedom. I graduated summa cum laude. My family didn't notice, too busy helping Rachel transfer to her third college in 2 years. I landed a job at a high-end auction house in Detroit. Entry-level estate jewelry. Division. Boring stuff at first, cataloging china, sorting brooches. Then I spotted something in the Kingston estate, an Art Deco brooch. Not flashy, but something felt off. Too heavy for costume, too detailed. I dug into databases, took a cheap online gemology course, built a case, showed it to my supervisor. Result: that costume brooch sold for $47,000. It was a Cartier, piece made for a duchess. After that, they started listening to me. 2 years in, we got the Rothschild estate. I spotted another overlooked piece. An Art Nouveau pin thought lost in Taduetu, sold for $238,000. My boss pulled me aside. "You should be running your own business." At first, I laughed, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I emptied my savings, took a loan, rented a tiny office above a Chinese restaurant. It reeked of Kung Pao chicken, but hey, cheap rent, and launched my own jewelry authentication firm. It was terrifying. But slowly, it grew. Dealers trusted me. Collectors sought me out. One job turned into 5, then 50. The big break? A Victorian brooch collection. I found 2 rare pieces misidentified as reproductions. My commission? $86,000. Year 2, I hired Jenny, now my head of authentication. We moved to a real office, built a reputation. Over the next few years, I built a multi-million-dollar company. Today, it's valued at $12 million. My family? Still in the dark. At Sunday dinners, they'd ask, "Still working at that antique shop?" Rachel would mock. "I have some old jewelry I was going to donate. Want to play dress-up?" I smiled. Always smiled. But last Thanksgiving, I'd had enough. My parents were once again praising Rachel for toughing it out at a retail job. She bragged about a $700 necklace she got on credit. Mom said, "She has such an eye for jewelry, don't you think?" I set down my wine. "Actually," I said calmly, "I now own one of the most successful jewelry authentication firms in the country. That necklace Rachel bought? It's a mass-market knockoff of a 1920s design. Retails for $89. I authenticated the original 2 years ago. It sold for $310,000. Silence. Then I added, "Oh, and I'm donating $2 million to create a scholarship fund for girls who were told they were just independent instead of being loved. I've named it after Grandma Marie. You could have heard a pin drop, even a fake one. To Goodwill, maybe your little shop would want it." That's what my mom said, handing me a bag of old costume jewelry. I'd just authenticated a $1 $2 million Fabergé piece that morning. "Sure," I said. "I'll take a look." She still introduced me to people as my other daughter. She works with old jewelry or something. Meanwhile, I was being quoted in Forbes under my company's name. We just opened our 3rd office. The weird part? Keeping it all secret became fun, like a private joke with myself. At Sunday dinners, I'd sit there in a Target clearance-looking outfit, actually Chanel, while my sister Rachel bragged about her entry-level marketing job. She once showed off her $200 Michael Kors watch for 20 minutes. I smiled, wearing a vintage Patek Philippe, worth more than her car. By year 5, I had offices in Detroit, Chicago, and New York. I was spending more time on planes than in my own bed. Discretion became my reputation. Turns out, rich people like their $1 million jewels verified quietly. The money? Substantial. Hire a team of financial advisors? Substantial. But I lived modestly. Nice but not flashy house. Luxury car but not ostentatious. My one indulgence? A home office that looked like MI6 had a baby with Cartier, state-of-the-art. Equipment. World-class security, a custom-built vault. Irony? My family thought I was living frugally for them. "Sarah's so sweet," Mom would say, eating ramen just to help us out. Meanwhile, I had just earned a commission larger than their mortgage. Success is strange. The more you have, the harder it is to explain to people who've always seen you as less, like trying to describe color to someone who's only ever seen in black and white. Every Sunday, I'd play the role of Sarah, the modest antique shop worker. It got surreal. Mornings on Zoom with collectors in Dubai, afternoons handling pieces worth millions, then pot roast with my family, pretending none of it existed. I even started playing games, wearing Harry Winston earrings to dinner just to see if anyone would notice. They never did. Then came the tipping point. The implosion. It started 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. Mom had a herniated disc and cried about not being able to cook for 20 people. I offered to cater. "Oh, honey, we can't afford that," she said. "Don't worry," I told her. "I've been saving up." She sounded concerned. "You're not taking out a loan, are you?" "The food came from a caterer I use for my business clients. It cost more than what my parents thought I made in 2 months." Thanksgiving morning, I was riding high, had just authenticated a lost Cartier piece, and was monitoring a Hong Kong auction from my childhood bedroom. Then, Rachel barged in, as always, without knocking. She saw my laptop, authentication software open, bank accounts, profit reports. "Let's show everyone what Sarah's really up to," she said smugly, grabbing the laptop and walking into the dining room. There were 20 people, everyone halfway drunk on wine they thought came from Trader Joe's. Rachel spun the laptop around like she'd just caught me watching cat videos. On screen, current account balance, $12, $4 million pending contract, $485,000 last transaction, $1, $2 million quarterly profit, $4, $2 million. The room went dead silent. Rachel whispered, This can't be right." Mom laughed nervously. "Sarah works at that little antique shop." I stood up. "Actually, Mom, I own one of the largest jewelry authentication companies in the country. That antique shop? That's mine. We have offices in 3 cities." Forks dropped. Wine glasses froze midair. Dad choked. Aunt Kelly's eyes bugged out. Then came the screaming. "You let us struggle while sitting on millions?" Mom screeched. I reminded her I'd been sending them $7,000 a month. Apparently, that didn't count. Rachel started crying. Dad ranted about family duty. Years of resentment broke through me like floodgates. "You raised me? You missed every award, every graduation. You funded Rachel's private school and left me nothing. And now, you're mad I built something without you?" I grabbed my laptop, my Hermes bag, earlier mistaken for a replica. I walked out. Behind me, Mom was already planning how to spend our money. The aftermath. By the time I got home, I had 47 missed calls and 200-plus messages. Mom's texts progressed like clockwork. "How dare you walk out? Let's talk like adults. Your sister deserves a share. I've already called a realtor." Rachel posted a Facebook rant about my betrayal. Claimed she'd been helping me all these years. Her advice? Maybe you should try selling jewelry on Etsy. Then came the flying monkeys. Aunt Susan calling about family values. Distant cousins writing essays on the importance of sharing wealth. I even got a voicemail from my third cousin's wife's sister. And then they showed up at my office. Mom, Dad, and Rachel told my receptionist they had an authentication appointment. Rachel clutched her Michael Kors bag like it was heirloom quality. "Mom, we've discussed it. We think you should set up trust funds." Rachel, "Needs at least $2 million. Your father and I are thinking Florida." I stared. "I've been sending you $7,000 a month." Rachel, "That's nothing compared to what you have." Mom, "We gave you everything." "No," I said. "I gave myself everything and I'm done." I canceled the monthly transfers. On the spot, security escorted them out. Jenny asked if I wanted to press charges. I said no, but added their names to the building's Do Not Admit list. For weeks, the harassment continued. New numbers, fake emails. They even tried to reach Me through my company's customer support line. I finally sent a legal notice. That's when Mom played her last card, Grandma Marie. But Grandma Marie? She just said, "Good for Sarah. About time someone in this family did something on their own." Mom didn't speak to her for 2 months. Freedom. It's been 6 months. I moved to a new house with better security. Changed all my numbers. The company is booming. Funny enough, all the drama brought in some high-end clients, people who appreciated my ability to keep their secrets. Rachel's still posting about toxic family wealth. Word is she's starting her own jewelry authentication business. Good luck with that. Mom and Dad now say they never wanted my money anyway. They're praying for my soul. Me? I'm finally breathing. No more hiding. No more ramen performance theater. No more downplaying my wins to protect someone else's ego. My therapist calls it setting healthy boundaries. I call it finally living like I earned it. Because I did.